high, depending on how long you're going to be sitting on the front row of the grid. Up towards pole position box for 33. Marcin Hua lines up on the grid. Philippe de Souza alongside the Macau driver in the distinctive coloured Audi, with a nod to Valentino Rossi on that car this weekend.
They recently retired.
Yeah.
Valentino Rossi. So the last few cars come out of our bend.
Retired from bikes.
Yes. But he's been an occasional car racer. And wouldn't it be good if you were on a gear race grid in the not too distant? Just a thought.
Or a GT race.
Yeah. One car for the pit lane there. One of the Audis coming into the pits, I notice. So another gap appears on the grid. However, the rest of the field is just about good to go. So the Galaxy Entertainment Macau Guia race, it is part one, the results of which will sort out the grid for tomorrow's trophy race. Marcin Hua on pole position then. On the left, as you look at the screen, the yellow bonneted Audi of Felipe de Souza with him at the front. The green flag shown to say everybody is back. The 5-second board has been displayed. The lights in a moment will go red. 5 on, lights out. Long hold. Now the lights go out. It is blast off. And who makes the better start? A good getaway by Marcin Hua. Not a great getaway by de Souza. And in the midst of all of that, look, so Zhang Zhushang got rather boxed in. Andy Yan trying to go round the outside in the Honda, and he's done it. He's up into second place then. Covers off the inside line, look, on the way down towards Mandarin. So Marcin Hua leads the way, but a really good start then. Andy Yan up into third place. There he is in the number 2 Honda. That becomes second as they dive now out of Mandarin for the first time down towards Lisboa. Good getaway as the field dives towards the first significant pinch point on the lap, and Yan is still challenging for the race lead on the outside line there.
Yeah, very exciting going into Lisboa. Very disappointing for Felipe de Souza, really dropping down the order. He's in 6th place, isn't he? As they go out of San Francisco Hill they go. It was a very good start by Marcin Hua, but under pressure as they went into this section of the circuit. And Felipe de Souza will be ruining the start of that race. All that waiting and then getting it wrong.
Absolutely right. And struggling now to make amends as the cars turn their way up from Maternity Bend towards Teddy Yip for the first time. Plunge downhill, head through the Solitude S's, and the field comes back towards us. The race leader, Marcin Hua, trying to gap Andy Yan. But Andy knows his way around here very effectively indeed, and he's staying on the back of the pole man. The Lincoln Co leads the way, but the Honda is second and not that far adrift. Marcin Hua here trying to get as many cars as he can between himself and his championship rival. But actually, now you've got, look, Zhang Zhushang up into third place. So it might be gear race glory for Marcin Hua, but TCR Asia glory looks like it's going to go the way of Zhang Zhushang. It's kind of honours even that way.
Looking at Marcin Hua, the car that took pole position yesterday, and Marcin Hua getting a good start. He's got a bit of a gap now on this section of the circuit to Andy Yan. Andy Yan, meanwhile, can't afford to make a mistake either, and quite a squeak out of the corner at Melco Hairpin for Andy Yan in second place. Marcin Hua, meanwhile, this is where the circuit opens up. Down they come through Black Sands and down towards Fisherman's. This is going to be the completion of lap number 1. And the final few turns, the final turn is our bend. Marcin Hua it is that leads. The 33 car of Marcin Hua in second place. Andy Yan, very, very good start. 1 lap complete now for Marcin Hua. Pole position and led lap 1.
And also look in the background because Zhang Zhushang is coming back at Andy Yan, isn't he? So there, look, the gap between the leaders, 0.8 of a second, but it's game on here. Second place, Honda versus Lincoln Co. Nose to tail pretty much on the run now. Down towards Mandarin, and which way does Zhang Zhushang go? He's going to line up for the outside line. Is he brave enough to go all the way around the outside? Yes, he is. Fantastic move.
It really was impressive, that, wasn't it? Any overtake on that part of the circuit is impressive to watch and impressive to work when you watch and it holds on all the way down towards Lisboa, and that is exactly what has happened. All of a sudden, Andy Yang coming in under increasing pressure as well in third place as they now make their way up through San Francisco Hill. And the story is not over for Felipe de Souza either, because he is under pressure heading up onto this mountain section of the circuit. There's a problem for the 66 car, so that comes to a stop and has found reverse gear. That's the escape road at Lisboa. That's Zobao Long in the Audi, and that's I think we'll be able to get back onto the track, having lost a considerable amount of time.
Andy Yan is not letting Jiangsu Shang get away, is he? Because those two are still nose to tail as they head down the hill. The Honda coming back at the Lincoln Co. So it was brave stuff on that fast section of circuit, but through the twiddly bits, the Honda Civic right there on the tail of the teamwork entered car. Nose to tail, heavy braking, and then in fourth place in the Seoul Hyundai in the race, Lo Siho is right on the back of Andy Yan, a little bit delayed as he came then through police up towards Moorish. So suddenly the tack changes for Andy Yan. No longer is he attacking, he's being attacked by the Hyundai behind him.
So around Donna Maria, the long left-hander, they go into, you just saw the yellow flag, which is stationary on the approach to the Melco hairpin. That's evident throughout the course of the weekend, and that's because there is no overtaking as they go through Melco. You couldn't overtake really if you wanted to. There is barely the space for two cars to get around the corner. Barely the space to get one car around the corner. It's a very skilled part of the circuit to get a good exit and therefore set yourself up for a good run on the final sector of the circuit through Black Sands Fisherman's Arben, the completion of lap number 2.
Up to the timing line then comes Ma Xinhua as he accelerates over the line with his teammate now up in a second place. There he is, that being Jiangsu Shang, and then in third place Andy Yan dropping back a little bit now. In fact, he's not into the clutches of Lo Siho, but he's certainly fallen away over the second part of the lap from the Lincoln Co ahead of him. In fifth place now, it's number 68, so James Tang doing a good job, clawing his way into the mix. So down to 6th, there he is, look, falls Felipe de Souza. 7th, right on his shoulder, is Sunny Wong now. So the battle's on here, Audi versus the Geely Motorsport Lincoln Co. They head down towards the right-hander of Lisboa. Sunny Wong having a long, long look on the inside. He's going to commit to it. Yes, dives to the inside line, tries to get through. They just avoid contact, and De Souza just stays ahead.
Yeah, but only just, as they now turn into San Francisco, getting back to the 36 car. That's the car in second place of Jiangsu Chang, and with a deficit of 3.2 at the end of lap number 2 to the race leader. I think it's going to be a very busy race for the remaining 6 laps to hold on to that second place, because the pressure really being applied by Andy Yang in third place. You can't afford to put a wheel wrong, can you? Particularly on this part of the circuit. Look at them, 2 tied together as 1.
But he's better on this part of the circuit, isn't he? Because the ground he'd lost heading up towards the line, 9/10 of a second, he's all but clawed back. And I just wonder whether it's going to be a little bit like we saw in the GT4 race earlier on, where one car's good on the mountain course and one is good, if you like, near the start and finish area. Yeah, right now, they're nose to tail.
Yeah, the gap waxed and waned earlier on, didn't it? Let's see what happens during the course of this gear race. The 8-lap race on the Saturday, the 12-lap race to look forward to on the Sunday here at Macau, and that is our race leader. A nice bit of clear track in front, a nice bit of clear track behind as well. Around the Melco hairpin, down they go through Black Sands, onwards towards the completion of lap number 3. Ma Xinhua it is that leads, and all of our attention has been on this battle for second place. Now our attention is on 2 crumpled touring cars. The number 17 car, the blue car of Yang Xiao Wei in the Seat, and facing the wrong way is the number 42 car of Chan Weng Tong.
So one of them, I think, can be moved fairly readily with the cranes, but the one that's stranded up the hill may be more of an issue. So with the demise there, as you were saying, of Zhang Hanbiao, could be in strife here as far as running the race without interruption is concerned. The leaders go by, and it's now 3.5 seconds, Ma Xinhua to Jiangsu Shang. And here's the replay of who did what to which and to whom. The Golf bounces into the barrier, and yes, completely innocent, nowhere to go. 17 finds a car bouncing back into his path. So that is how Yang Shibiao is out of the race, as the cars then come towards us. So Yang Xiaowei's Sayat goes no further, and Felipe de Souza on the attack now as he comes up to have a go at James Wong, and he's going to get the job done. Is he on the inside line? Yep, going into Lisboa. So de Souza, having dropped ground off the grid, fighting his way back up the order, and Sonny Wong is right there as well, looking for a way by.
So as they now go up San Francisco Hill, it's de Souza at the front of that 3-car train, and a little bit of a gap, a little bit of daylight between himself and the pursuing 2 cars. That's brave. Having a look down side by side on this section, we've seen touring cars do it in previous years, and sometimes not to a particularly good effect through the mountain section. However, it is possible. And sometimes places can be made up there. You can just about squeeze a touring car through. Wouldn't recommend it in a single-seater. Certainly wouldn't recommend it in a GT car. But it is possible in a touring car. That's the 33 car that leads of Marcin Roy. And coming up towards the stricken car, the unfortunate stricken car.
Not quite sure how that's going to get out of the way, actually, because it can't drive. And it's sort of out of reach of a crane. So it might be that we need a caution period. We will see. Marcin Roy still building this advantage as best he can over Zhang Zhushang. Down towards the Macau hairpin they come. Falling back a bit there. Look, in third place is Andy Yan. The gap between the leading Lincoln Co's is coming down. And there, Marcin Roy still leads the way. But last year's Guia race victor, the TCR Asia Championship leader, Zhang Zhushang, is chasing after him. There they are, the Shell-backed cars are first, second and seventh. Sonny Wong still trapped in the traffic.
What was the gap? It was 3.3 between the top 2 at the end of lap number 3. They're about to complete the half-distance lap now, and coming up towards the line across the timing beam. Marcin Roy, the advantage, 3.3. It's now 1.3.
Yeah, I think that Zhang Zhushang is on a mission now. As you say, the gap's coming down, and he's also easily getting away from Andy Yan there in third place. Fourth, Ho-Si Lo in the Hyundai, and they in turn a long way clear of Felipe de Souza in fifth spot, with James Tang running in sixth in the second of the Team TRC Hondas. There's his teammate running third, Andy Yan. And again, the gap comes down. We're going to have a real fight on our hands now. It's not only for race honours, it's not only for pole for tomorrow, it's for maximum points within TCR Asia as a championship.
Fascinating stuff for the second half of the race. They've completed half distance. They are now into the second half, and we have a battle not for second place. We have almost a battle for the lead. Under pressure now is Marcin Roy. Can't afford to put a wheel wrong. He did have an advantage. He had a bit of daylight, maybe a possible bit of wiggle room, and now that wiggle room has all but gone. Around the left-hander at Teddy Yip goes the race leader, and these two at the front of the field, well, the gap between the two of them at the end of lap number 4 was 1.3 seconds, just shy of 1.4 seconds between the top 2. And Marcin Roy can't afford to put a wheel wrong.
I thought he was a bit close to the Armco a couple of corners back, so you can see that he is pushing on now, realising how close his teammate is getting. So Marcin Roy has to try and stretch the advantage if he can. Yellow flag zone approaches, and it looks like that car's going to have to stay there under wave yellows to the end of the race, because we're now on lap 5 of 8, and there's no chance of anybody getting to it to move it. So into Donna Maria, the top 2, the 2 teammates, the 2 Lincoln Co's almost together. And now, of course, a good run out of the Macau hairpin would really help Zhang Zhushang in his efforts to close that gap to Marcin Roy even further. Yeah,
they close right up as they go around Macau, but the run out of the corner is the critical thing for the final part of the lap, up to complete 5 laps now out of 8 for the 8-lap race here on Saturday. There's the race leader coming up towards the completion of lap number 5. Marcin Roy. Big in his mirrors is the 36 car of Zhang Zhushang, coming up towards the line, and a completion of another lap. The gap, well, you can see it to the eye, it's about 2 car lengths. What's that in terms of seconds as they come across? Half a second between the two of them at the end of 5 laps.
And a new fastest lap of the race as well by Zhang Zhushang, so really good drive this. And look up the road, not only is Marcin Roy going to feel the pressure, he's also got to take traffic into account, because they're closing on one of the first back markers, aren't they? So this could be another factor. Does Shang take advantage of it? So Zhang Zhushang goes to the inside line down towards Lisboa. The two teammates almost overlapping. Ma Xinhua defends and just scrabbles into the corner ahead. But he's going to have to work really hard to hang on to this to the very end of the race.
But certainly that's a note of intent, isn't it? Going into Lisboa and just pulling out. Maybe the idea of that was just to show the intent for the remaining laps. I'm not sure that that manoeuvre is going to be tried at Lisboa. It was very exciting indeed when we saw a change of position coming through Mandarin a little bit earlier, and that's a manoeuvre that can take place in a touring car. So around Teddy Yip go the top two. Nothing between the two of these. If anything, on this mountain section, Ma Xinhua this time has got a little bit more of an advantage, but it's only relative as they come up towards the final few turns of this section. Go around the left-hander at Donna Maria, the long left-hander, after they've negotiated the right-hander at Police and Moorish. Through they go, through Police, up towards Moorish. Just being told, of course, they've got that stricken car, which will be there until the end of the race. Battles down the order as well, threading their way through Lisboa.
Yeah, that was Yulong in the Alpha, trying to keep the traffic at bay, because right up with him, Jason Mock, and again the gap comes down. Look through the Melco hairpin, closing once more is Zhang Zhushang, the fastest man on the circuit, fastest lap last time, gap down to half a second, although I agree with you, Ma Xinhua on this lap has worked hard to try and stretch that margin. So as they come now down towards Fisherman's through that fast right, road opening up, but they still get pretty close to the wall on the outside. Another short straight down towards our bend. The two sister cars, first and second. Last time across the stripe, it was half a second between the pair. Can this man bring the gap down sufficiently to challenge for the race lead? This being Zhang Zhushang. He comes over the line this time with the margin having gone up 0.8 of a second. So Ma Xinhua retaliates, stretches the margin, 2 more laps to go.
By 0.3 of a second, Ma Xinhua better on that lap. Look at that. I have a feeling that Zhang Zhushang has got full beam on now, and I know how annoying that can be when you've got a car with full beam on just behind. I'm sure that's not going to put off Ma Xinhua. They have a look down the inside once again going into Lisboa. That was a bit more intent than it was on the previous occasion going into Lisboa. We've got 2 more attempts at that corner. They are on lap 7 out of 8. And as they go up through the mountain section, traffic is going to play a part in this.
It is, because although the lead gap has stretched, so Ma Xinhua is closing on another back marker. Closing, he's closed, he's right there. And the back marker gets out of the way, so that's good. But there's another one up the road. He's not out of the woods yet.
That was really good driving by the car just going a lap down.
Right, so there are the race leaders. The gap has come down a touch, but Ma Xinhua driving very nicely here. Hua comes down through the Solitude S's. Another back marker up the road. And again, the back marker sees them coming. No, he doesn't. I was about to say respect the blue flags. Now he gets out of the way, but that has got exactly the result that Zhang Zhushang wanted. He's right on the back of Ma Xinhua now for the race lead. And the back marker did his best to get out of the way, but it was just 1 corner too late for the leader.
And now they have to be careful. Don't forget, we've got that stricken car on the circuit. They go past it. Everyone knows it's there, but the 2 Lincoln Co. go together as one. Around Donna Maria they go, and this is going to be fascinating. They're coming up towards the conclusion of 7 laps out of 8. This final section could be the key for the second place car of Zhang Zhushang as they come down through from Melco. Maybe a better exit, slightly better exit by Ma Xinhua on that occasion. Not an awful lot between the two of them, but they're about to see the completion of 7 laps out of 8, and this the final chance going up towards Mandarin and then down towards Lisboa for Zhang Zhushang. So that's our race leader, Ma Xinhua. He has led race long. In the second half of the race, he's been under increasing pressure and has not put a wheel wrong thus far. He's got 1 more lap to have to do this for. Last lap board being displayed. And what can Zhang Zhushang do about this final lap?
And what can Felipe de Souza do about getting onto the podium, because he's almost now caught Lo Si Ho. The gap then, half a second as they went through to start the last lap. This is for third, Hyundai versus Audi. So the question about the Lincoln Co's remains unanswered for the moment. For third place, you've got the Macau driver, Felipe de Souza here, chasing on this for the race lead. And to the inside line goes the chasing Lincoln Co of Zhang Zhushang. But Ma Xinhua fends him off, and that could have been crucial, because I'm not convinced there's going to be another opportunity to change the lead unless Ma Xinhua makes a mistake. What about third? Still nose to tail. Lo Si Ho just, for the moment, keeping at bay. Felipe de Souza, that's going to go down to the wire as well. So, 2/3 of a lap to go. Ma Xinhua leads, but right there behind him, trying to pressure a mistake out of him, is Zhang Zhushang as they come down through the Solitude S's out of Teddy Yip. We're on the final lap of the race. Remember, how they finish will sort out the grid for the Guia race 12-lapper tomorrow. But also, this is for points in TCR Asia, and in that respect, it is advantage the second of these cars, that of Zhang Zhushang.
I think you're right. I think that was the last opportunity, and the gap has extended on this final run through the tight and twisty section of the circuit. And as they come up towards the right-hander at Police, into the right-hander they go with that stricken car just there on the circuit after Moorish corner. They know it's there. That's why the waved yellow flags have continued for the majority of the race. But that, I think, was the final opportunity at Lisboa for a change for the lead, barring any problem for the race leader. That's a problem for the number 10 car. It was in 12th place, but now it has come to grief at Lisboa.
Tian Kai, the driver, out of the Macau hairpin come the race leaders. And I think you're right, yes, almost as though having not been able to make it work at Lisboa after that. So Zhang Zhushang backed out of it, thought, okay, gave it my best shot, let's keep out of trouble, bank the points. Because
it was all moving to that final manoeuvre, wasn't it?
It didn't work then, it wasn't going to, because much as he wants to win the race, he wants points to win a championship. And drama there with a puncture after contact. That's Andy Yan limping around. Now remember, he was running third early on. He's going to end up a lap down, and he will put himself, instead of third on the grid as he was, the back of the grid for tomorrow's race. They're going to complete the race nose to tail, but it's a win for Ma Xinhua, who takes the checkered flag just by 0.3 of a second ahead of Zhang Zhushang. And then for third place, again, nose to tail, but hanging on to the position. A great drive this by Lo Si Ho with a flash of the lights. He comes up towards the timing line, and he is third in the Hyundai. Felipe de Souza fourth, and the Audis are still squabbling amongst themselves, although one of them is a back marker to get out of the way. So here, heading up towards the line, 81, Huang Qiuhan, trying to fend off the challenge of Jack Tin Chung, who's come up from near the back of the grid as they dive to the R bend for the last time, but it is just going to be the Audi that hangs on. So Huang Qiuhan comes over the line to finish in 6th place, forgive me, 6th place, 7th place goes to Jack Tin Chung, and all of that means that 8th behind them should be Yen Chuang's Golf GTI.
That's your race winner, Ma Xinhua, pole position, and taking the top step of the podium, the stricken number 10 car. Disappointing way to finish the race for Tian Kai in the Huff Sports Audi, nosed in at the outside of Lisboa. But a very, very good second half of the race by Zhang Zhushang, finishing up in second place. And a replay of the number 10 car hitting the tie wall down at Lisboa. Fairly typical run down into the right-hander and not quite getting it right. Good thing about Lisboa is you do have an opportunity to, if you think possibly you're not going to make the corner, to go down that escape road to get safely back onto the circuit, lose a good deal of time, but the advantage not going into the tyre barrier at the right-hander. So a race win for the driver that took pole position yesterday, the hugely experienced Ma Xinhua, using all of that knowledge, all of that experience to fend off a lot of pressure that was placed upon him by Zhang Zhushang in car number 36, that car which is now ahead of the race winner, Ma Xinhua. Leaders are heading back towards Parc Fermé, and a podium is going to come up very soon indeed.
And of course, now we know the front of the grid for tomorrow, so you put the two teammates side by side, and a good start's going to be absolutely key, isn't it, for there, Zhang Zhushang, but a good drive by Ho Si Lo, the one Hyundai, and he had to fight his way into the mix. You've got to feel a little bit there for Yang Xianwei in that blue damaged Seat, because he was minding his own business and suddenly got a face full of errant car, didn't he? And there's not much you can do then. So there the Lincoln Co's making their way up to the end of this in-lap towards the podium, the pit lane. And then we'll get the winning drivers up to the podium. One more race still to come today at the Macau Guia circuit, and that's for the GT3 field for the Sands China Macau GT Cup. 8 laps, and that promises to be another dramatic race. We're running about an hour or so behind schedule now because of an earlier accident and then delays to check barriers and so forth. But the racing, when it's come, has been well worth waiting for. And we managed to get through TCR Asia through the first part of the Guia race without the mayhem that one might have anticipated.
Sometimes the Guia races here at Macau have been, I'm searching for the correct word for this, quite challenging for everybody. And I've got another word as well, quite costly for everybody. But that was a very clean race and confirmation of the result. A win for number 33, Ma Xinhua in the Shell Teamwork Lincoln Co. From teammate Zhang Cheng in the 36 car. And the third place, very good drive by number 28, Lo Si Ho. And a faster slap of the race going to the second place car in the pursuit of the leader. A 2 minutes 33.517, best lap of the race. Into Parc Fermé they will come. Celebrations are pending and a podium as well. I think we've got a press conference for this as well, so we can hear from the drivers, hopefully.
Well, there's Lo Si Ho, who has done a very good job, I reckon, in the Seoul Hyundai in the entry. As he heads to the Parc Fermé area, the China GT and TCR Asia and Asian Touring Car regular parks the car. Third position is his, the Hong Kong driver, and then the Lincoln Co's arrive. There you can see Zhang Zhushang, the man that takes second place, loses 7 points to his teammate and rival for TCR Asia, Ma Xinhua, but he's still got the lead, but it's going to be a reduced lead going into the final round tomorrow. Number crunching overnight, points to be addressed before we get to the race tomorrow. As out steps Zhang Zhushang, and they're about to thread his way between all the caging is the race winner, Ma Xinhua.
Out of the car and about to pop the steering wheel back on the car. A wave for the camera, and I wonder if there's a word for the teammates as well. Number 1, Ma Xinhua, and being congratulated by the officials down in the Parc Fermé area. The technical checks, of course, have to take place on car and driver as well, but yep, with the 2 teammates meeting up down in Parc Fermé, a hug between the 2 of them, and the weighing of the drivers taking place. A thumbs up from the camera for Lo Si Ho, the Honda driver, third on the podium. Podium coming up shortly. A few celebrations. Takes a little while to get the drivers over to the podium. Quite a few people want to offer their congratulations on the short run through the paddock, and Philippe de Souza offering his congratulations to Ma Xinhua as Felipe queues up for the weigh scales. That's our third place driver. Quick word with the team. A quick exhalation of air as well. It's hard work driving these cars around the Macau circuit. And as we prepare ourselves for the podium, that's coming up in just a couple of moments.
Well, there the drivers hand over the crash helmets to their team. There are TV interviews to take place, and a very happy Ma Xinhua celebrating a race win. So the official saying, never mind posing with your championship winning poster, if that's what it is. Just get yourself to the podium, please. So, yes, leave that, leave that. Can't take it.
You've got people to look after that.
Face mask on and follow that man there. A career as tour guides, I think, is on the cards for some of these guys, because they've done a great job of whisking people across the paddock. The Lincoln Co adornments. He's determined to take the poster with it.
Of which there are many, aren't there?
Now, does that sort out a championship?
I rather think that's what it looks like, yeah.
But I was assuming that the fight would continue into tomorrow's race, but I shall await confirmation from the championship for that.
Mathematicians we are not.
No. It would depend a bit on drop scores, I would have thought.
Yeah,
anyway.
Yeah. But we're ready for a podium. Podium set, ready to go. Drivers, as we know, are making their way up and just arriving up the narrow staircase up towards the backstage for the podium. And as we prepare ourselves for the presentation, there'll be plenty of media on the other side of the pit lane, over on the pit wall, ready to capture the moment when we see the top three making their way onto the podium in just a few moments' time.
And there the podium is ready. So very shortly, drivers will be brought forward. The grid for that race slightly shuffled around by the fact that we had a sort of mid-session red flag that rather affected when some people got a time in and others didn't, but in the end I think perhaps it was the result anticipated, the Lincoln Co's being the cars to beat, and we look forward to seeing over 12 laps tomorrow exactly what the outcome of the Macau Guia race is going to be. The dignitaries then are getting themselves ready.
And you can hear in the background GT engines getting ready for the final race of day 2 of the 68th running of the Macau Grand Prix. That's our next race of the afternoon, our final race of the afternoon here from Macau, in what has been a very busy day's racing, full of drama as ever at Macau. And I think we're almost ready to get our podium presentation underway.
The Galaxy Entertainment Macau Guia race podium
for Galaxy Entertainment
ready
Macau Guia race. The winning drivers in third place, number 28, Luo Ziho from Hong Kong. Congratulations. In second place, number 36, Zhang Ziqiang from mainland China. And the winner, number 33, Ma Qinghua from mainland China. Congratulations.
Attention on the grid, attention on the grid. Sense China Macau GT cars. 10 minutes to start formation lap. Pit exit are now closed.
And now may I invite Mr. Buddy Lam, Senior Vice President of Public Relations of Galaxy Entertainment Group, to present the trophy to our third place driver, Luo Ziho. Congratulations. May I invite Mr. Andy Lee, Deputy Director of Operations of Star World Hotel, to present the trophy to our second place driver, Zhang Ziqiang. Congratulations. And now, may I invite Mr. Philip Chen, Director of Galaxy Entertainment Group, to present the trophy to the winner of the Galaxy Entertainment Macau Gear Race, Ma Qinghua. Congratulations. Let's all get closer to the middle for a group photo. Congratulations to all our winning drivers, and thank you, our presenters.
And congratulations to our top 3 drivers. Lo Siho for 3rd place, Zhang Zhizhang taking 2nd, and from the banner that he brought onto the podium, Ma Xinhua as the new champion of TCR Asia. But some number crunching might need to be confirmed for that, because we were anticipating that it was a margin reduced. But as I say, there are drop scores that might have to be factored in as well. So forgive us, we'll confirm for tomorrow's Guia race. But having said all of that about TCR Asia, for this weekend, really, the main focus is on the Guia race anyway. But there, the teammates can celebrate success on the podium as Ma Xinhua heads home Zhang Zhizhang, or Jason Zhang as he prefers to be known, into the top 2 places in the first race for the Macau Guia race. 8 laps done, 12 to go tomorrow to determine who lifts the coveted trophy. And of course, Jason Zhang looking to do it for the 2nd year in a row. So drivers then pose for the last camera shots, and will in a moment make their way up to the press conference. The driver's title will go down to the wire tomorrow. It is purely the team's championship, I understand, that is being promoted. So we now have, what's that going to be, 14 points between them, and 25 on offer tomorrow. So it is still Zhang who is ahead, but the gap narrowed to 14 by Ma Xinhua's pole position and win, and 25 of them at stake tomorrow. So it's still looking more likely for Zhang to do the deed, because he's going to have a very bad result for, given that they're starting side by side, so many cars to get in between them. But bearing in mind it's 25 for a win and 18 for second, the further back you are within even the top 6, the more it favours Ma Xinhua. So tomorrow's going to be fascinating all round, as there a GT3 grid assembles for our final race of the day.